Welcome back everyone to the second part of this special. We're going to continue where we left off in the first part. We are the 12th of October, the day after the incident that occurred involving John Smith and myself after the Anfield Parish Council meeting of the 11th of October. Now, on this particular day, a number of things happened. First and foremost, Mike Thompson sent an email, Councillor Mike Thompson I should say, sent an email registering his absolute disgust at the behaviour that he had witnessed the night before. That email went around all councillors, went to myself, I went to the clerk. I did have to correct that email. I did have my legs, I did have threats to break my legs, but it was not made on a website, or I should say Facebook page run by Councillor Burgess. But that threat was undertaken by somebody who was at one time a Rent-A-Mob member and an associate of that group. But that person has since completely repented of their sins and has become one hell of a good friend, not just to me, but to my family. We look out for each other, and I look out for him and his family, his wife, his son, his daughter. I'm there for him, he is there for me, and we've worked very closely together ever since. Also on this particular day, Councillor Thompson and his stepson went for a quick pint at the Bull's Head on lunchtime. And I was in work this particular day, and I got a call to say there'd been an event at the Bull's Head, and I said, well, what's gone on? What's happened? And Mike told me that when he and his stepson walked in, who should they see at the bar but John Smith, who, on taking one look at them, disappeared out the door so fast you could have thought he had got a rocket up his arse and it was lit. So what was he taking off for? What was he in the pub? Well, it's obvious. He was taking off because he didn't want, anybody associated with me to know what he was up to. Secondly, he was in that pub covering his arse because exactly everything I said to him, about what had happened on the 8th of October was true. But it was from this point that John Smith was going to whip up a complete invention and a fairy story about what went on. Day after that, Thursday, I made a request to Kerry Sullivan, a current request to Kerry Sullivan for a witness statement in respect of what had gone on the evening of the 11th. I wasn't expecting miracles, I wasn't expecting anything back, and I was right to. I got no response, no acknowledgement. No witness statement. I got nothing from him. What I did get from her is a pain in the arse, though. And I'll tell you how I got that. We now move forward to the 22nd of October, and I'm sitting there, and it was a Saturday, not a Sunday, it was a Saturday. And I'm sitting there eating my lunch with my mum, my dad, and my brother, and my partner, and we see this police car come past. Out of this police car gets a female PCSO. Let's put my glasses on here to read some notes. What happened from that point on was really actually quite shocking, because she turns up. I wasn't angered by a visit, I was actually upset. Because, and I'll tell you why I was angered by a visit, because I thought it was in relation to the complaint that I had made about John Smith, because I was and I'm a victim. I was also quite upset because I suddenly found that she stood in front of my father, my mother, my brother and my partner, and said that she was there to investigate my assault on parish council. And I said, I beg your pardon, I've not assaulted any parish councillor. I said, whoever said that is completely false. It's disingenuous. It is wrong. And I went and got the 6 witness statements that I got, and I gave them to her, and I said, look, you got to read them. And I'll say to her, she read them, and she took notes in a notebook, and her whole stance changed, her whole demeanour changed when she suddenly realised that, hang on, this is far worse than is realised. I was then stunned even further when she said to me that I couldn't go to the Planned Finance Committee meeting, which was due the following Monday morning, October the 24th, and that I was to stay away from HPC meetings. I said, well, number one, you can't tell me to do that. You've got no power authority at all. It's totally illegal. You can't do it. So, and I actually asked, I said, look, one, who's made this fictitious complaint against me? She said it was Councillor John Smith, and he claims that you've assaulted him. Well, I laughed, despite being very distressed and upset. I then asked him who had asked her to tell me to stay away from parish council meetings, because that's also illegal. And I actually told her, I said, I've got a good mind to actually attend that meeting. I mean, I couldn't because I was at work, but that's besides the point. I was making a point. She saw immediately that what she had been told and what we know another PC had been told by John Smith and Kerry Sullivan completely contradicted everything. I told her I had an active incident log number, an investigation number. She noted that in the notebook. She also said to me that I had harassed Kerry Sullivan, and I said, no, I haven't. I said, that's rubbish. And I said, have you seen any of the emails? She said, yeah, I've seen the emails. She said, there's no offence in there, there's nothing at all. Oh, I knew there and then I was totally in the clear. She agreed with me that I'd not committed any offence and that there is a situation here that's got to get sorted out. I then reported this straight to Mike Thompson, finished my lunch, and Mike said, you get round here. There was a meeting held at Mike's, which had quite a turnout. Brian was there, Barry and Dennis were there as our ward councillors. And I told them what had gone on that morning, and the disgust was unbelievable. It was Dennis's view that it was quite clear that there was a very good chance that we've got two parish councillors who are committing a willful misconduct in public office, and that this had to be sorted. They also viewed that my lawful democratic right to attend a public meeting was being denied at the request of two councillors and on the advice of a police officer, which was completely illegal. You can't do that. As I pointed out to them, I told this particular female PCSO that the only way that somebody could be stopped from going to a parish council meeting or a council meeting per se is if they'd been so unruly that there was an order of court, and that was not there. So we finished this meeting off, and Brian and Mike agreed that they were going to ask some big questions on the Monday morning, Monday the 24th of October. I said I would go home and I would chase up my complaint to the police about what had happened to John Smith. One thing that did stand out for is that this particular PCSO, when she requested, she told me not to go to the meeting schedule for Monday morning, before saying to stay away from other meetings, knew that the meeting on the Monday morning was a finance committee meeting. Big question, and Brian was the one asking this, is how did she know that? Unless she'd been on the website, unless she'd seen notice boards, somebody had to tell her that. And it's my belief that it was either John Smith, Kerry Sullivan, or parent. It's that simple. I certainly did not tell her it was a finance committee meeting. Absolutely not. I did feel that this female PCSO arrived at a predetermined opinion and view based on the lies, deceit of both John Smith and Kerry Sullivan. No doubt in my mind that had happened. I also felt that she arrived feeling very sympathetic towards Kerry Sullivan, and that sympathy was purely based on gender. Now, I am not a misogynist or anything like that, but that is how I felt. And I also felt that in terms of proper investigation, it's quite clear that it's not happened. She didn't take any of the witness statements, which was very concerning. So crucial, pivotal evidence has been ignored and left without any reason being given whatsoever. So we rolled into Monday morning. I was at work, and Mike and Brian went into the finance committee meeting and asked some big questions. And needless to say, both John Smith and Kerry Sullivan denied any knowledge of it. They said, no, we've not done it, not done it, not done it. Well, we knew they were lying, because why would a PCSO come to my house and say it was them? I don't believe the PCSO would say that and willfully lie in those circumstances. I followed this up with continuously saying to the police that my complaint is still there. Why is nobody doing anything about it? We got to the 31st of October. Yeah, Halloween. A knock at the door. No, it wasn't a trick-or-treater, but it may as well should have been or could have been. It would have been preferred. No, it was Gareth Harding, wasn't it? Our PCSO. Really. And what went down with him was nothing short of disgraceful. He came into the kitchen where I was with my father, and I got all the paperwork out. And I gave him the witness statements, and he said he wasn't going to read them. I said, oh, and then stating they're not important. I said, oh, they are important. And you will read them. He actually corrected himself and read them, but he didn't take any notes in his notebook, which I thought was appalling. I think, and I'll still say this, it's unprofessional. Absolutely unprofessional. Given that these statements were from councillors of Anfield Parish Council and other witnesses, I think, and I do feel still that a lot of weight should have been given to this fact. I asked PCSO Harding if he got a copy of the previous PCSO's investigation. He said he had. Therefore, I knew straight away that if he's gone off that, he's got false and misleading information right from the off, right from the get-go. And I'm going to have to start again like I'd done back on Saturday the 22nd. I couldn't understand why he didn't have a copy of the verbal statement, and it was a detailed verbal statement that I had given to the police when I was making my complaint against John Smith. Again, I felt that this information was woefully inaccurate, was wrong, and it was concerning. As we went through that meeting with Gareth Harding, he actually called me the offender. I was not happy with that, and my father less so. I was quite upset. PCSO then doubles back and then refers to me as the harasser. So I said, hey, you need to book your ideas up. You were here falsely accusing me. That's not your job, not your place. He then says, with a stupid grin on his face, that I was not subject to a harassment order. Pause. Yet. Well, this time, enough is enough, and he is warned that if he doesn't change his tune, A, he's out this house, and B, the legal challenge that's going to hit is going to be so severe and so big, it's going to potentially lift Anfield off its foundations and drop it back on it. It's going to be that big, it's going to be that explosive. Suddenly, this idiot calms down, this PCSO calms down, and my father warns him again that his behaviour is unacceptable, and that the treatment that I'm being afforded, because I'm the victim in all of this, ain't acceptable in any way, shape or form. He then asked me what I want. I said I want a full written apology from John Smith. I want him to double down and say, look, my mistake, made a mistake, shouldn't have done it. It was at this point that he stated he'd seen certain emails about how I behaved, and I said, what do you mean, certain emails? And he said, from another counsellor. I said, I bet that's Kerry Sullivan. And the look he gave me just gave it away, and I thought, something's been written here. So after Gareth Harding had gone, I called Mike Thompson, and Mike confirmed there was an email from Kerry Sullivan He told me that, and Brian would confirm this, that she had said that she thought I was going to hit her, that I was hyper aggressive, that I was shouting, yelling and screaming, which I wasn't at all. This got me even more upset because I said, "Yeah, there's lies going around about this. This has got to stop. We've got to hit this hard." And just for the record, I've never lifted a finger in anger or violence to a woman in my life, and I never will. It's because it's not just is it ungentlemanly and unacceptable, it's cowardly to do it, and I won't do that. I'm no coward. I rang Brian, and Brian confirmed the same, and the advice was taken from Mike and Brian and Ian, get an FOI application for these emails. So I did that. I hit HBC with an FOI application, and sure enough, Kerry Sullivan had sat along this, which really, if she wanted to be believed, it should have been started either, once upon a time or in a galaxy far, far away. Then she'd have had the chance of being seen as being truthful. But what she did say was that, and she confirmed that John Smith did ask me to hit him and put his chin and face in my face, and that he had blocked the doorway on me and blocked my way of leaving. So that was a plus. At least she'd managed to admit that. At least she'd been truthful on that. But the rest of it was just a load of hogwash. And it was. What I also found out from these two police visits is that I'd snapped at "I'll see you outside" parish council meeting. I've not done that at all. That was just a load of rubbish. Yeah, just a load of hogwash. I also decided at that time, after speaking to everybody and family and other friends, that I was going to have to make an application, make a subject access request to the police. So I contacted PCSO Stanley. She gave me the information that I needed, and I made the application. So I just had to sit and wait. In the meantime, this saga rolled on because there was an XO called, which basically was to deal with, it was a handful of parish council, full council XO called from the 2nd of November. Now, this is an important, well, it wasn't an important meeting, but it was a meeting that contained something very important that we found. And in that meeting, John Smith read out an email reportedly sent by Kerry Sullivan to the clerk, and to which he, Cynthia Sampson, copied into. Now, I'm going to read that email for you now. Okay? And I want you to diarise, not diarise, I want you to fix that in your mind, this email, okay? Because there's going to be something important come out about that a little later on. Okay? This was the email that John Smith read out. "Dear Ashley, you may have read Councillor Tolver's email sent Friday to myself by now. I've already answered his question to his face and on video with regards to asking the police to keep a member of public away from any HBC meetings. I have not asked them at any point to tell anyone they must not attend. I'm somewhat flummoxed as to how else I can respond. With regards to the conversation I had with the police, the incident I have discussed with them is not, as far as I'm concerned, a HBC matter. It refers to an incident that happened after an HBC meeting. Therefore, it is a personal matter which I have already explained. Despite asking Councillor Tolver to respect my privacy, he has chosen to email me again in what I feel is a somewhat demanding way, almost suggesting that if I don't reply with what he wants to know, I will be breaking my code of conduct. Firstly, I pride myself always on being open and honest." Really? "I felt assured that confirming I had not asked the police to do what Councillor Tolver has accused Councillor Smith of, and suggested that I may have done, would be enough. Secondly, why does Councillor Tolver have the right to expect an answer from me regarding a matter that has nothing to do with HBC? If I had been burgled and made a statement to the police regarding who could have carried out the burglary, would that give him the right to ask me what I had said to the police? I think not. I see no difference between that and the recent conversation I had with the police. As you were there when I spoke to the police officer, Ashley, you know this is not a council matter. Thirdly, the constant need for Councillor Tolver to include all councillors in his emails to me, as far as I am concerned, is almost tantamount to bullying me. That is how it feels. I've answered his question. He suggested my behaviour could result in me needing to resign. Is that a potential threat? Another one, I might add. Since I've been on the council, I've had more threats of action from Councillor Tolver and his associates by the monitoring officer and High Court than I can count on my fingers. It's getting beyond ridiculous now. It feels as if he and his associates are almost desperately trying to get me to trip up so they can kick me off the council. If only they spent as much time working for the council, there would be much more done for our community. I refuse to respond to Councillor Tolliver's email. I have no idea what it has to do with him, other than the fact that clearly he has a personal association with a member of the public involved. He's made that blatantly obvious. Please can you, or our chair, or our vice chair, advise how I should deal with the situation? I am far too busy actually getting on with council work to put up with this continued and unnecessary harassment. Please accept my apologies to you all for having to waste your own time to deal with this. Kind regards, Kerry. Okay, remember that one, will you? At this very same meeting, we catch PCSO Gareth Harding out, because when he was at my house on Halloween that year, 2016, he was actually asked, had PCSO Stanley documented in the report that she had asked me to stay away from Handful Parish Council meetings at the request of a councillor. And in front of my father as a witness, Gareth Harding responded, yes, she had. After John Smith read this email, Cynthia Sampson, as chair, asks Gareth Harding, who is present, if the police had been asked to stop or bar a member of the public from attending parish council meetings. Gareth Harding answers, no. Well, that left a question. Has he lied to me, or has he lied to council, or in council, to back their version of events? Quick piece of research, straight up. Yes, I had been asked by the police not to attend parish council meetings at the behest of two councillors, and those two councillors were John Smith and Kerry Sullivan. And that is absolutely true. We got that proved. So Gareth Harding lied. And he lied to back the mob. Okay? You now know where he stands. And if you thought my confidence in him was low then, it got even lower. And it's continued to sink, and it's now at 0. It can't get any less than 0, but it's at 0. I then get towards the end of November the subject access response from Handful Parish Council. Sure enough, I can see Kerry Sullivan's email, and I can see emails that Brian Tolliver has sent very calmly, coolly, not in an intimidatory or bullying manner, asking her, look, did you do this? We need to know. Because if you did, this could be a very serious conduct issue, and it may mean that you have to resign. If you look, well, there will come a time when you can see these. If you look at the wording of some of them, Brian is actually putting it there in his words, saying, you know, did you do this of your own volition, or did people put you up to it? Well, to me, Kerry wouldn't have done that of her own volition. She was told to do it. And 3 guesses by you. Yeah. That's the problem when you get mixed in with rent a mob. That's the problem. They don't do the truth. We're now at the beginning of December. On the 7th of December, a brown envelope comes through the door from Cheshire Constabulary. We've got the report. The full one. Oh boy. Does it reveal some lying? And I've got it right here. First page notes the first details. It notes that the complaint was recorded 12th of October 2016 at 10:33, and that the caller, and I should read it for you, the caller is a local councillor, it's John Smith. And yesterday evening at approximately 21:30, that being the 11th of October 2016, whilst in a council meeting at the below location, the caller and his fellow colleague were approached by Aled Bruton, 40s from Handful. Well, I wasn't in my 40s at that time, I wasn't 40. Aled was accusing caller's colleague of misleading the public. Aled became very aggressive and threatening towards the caller, and caller's face, baring his teeth, wasn't making much sense. Well, that's absolute crap. You can see there what John Smith has done. He has described his behaviour as being mine. He has made a malicious accusation to the police to seek to bring a malicious prosecution against an innocent victim. For shame. I think for anybody to do this, you've got to be crackers. You've got to be mad. You've got to be a shilling short of a shilling, a pound short of a pound, however you want to put it. You know. It was even quoted in here saying that I'd snapped at Kerry Sullivan in the meeting saying, "I'll see you outside." I didn't. I did not say that at all. No, I did not. Even the police officer who took the original complaint. Now, before I get onto that, this is important because another revelation comes out here. This meeting was held in the clerk's office. That's Halforth Parish Council's offices. So to say it's not a council issue, why are you holding the meeting in the council offices and saying not the pub or your home? So it clearly is a council issue, isn't it? So to say it's not a council issue is also a lie. Complete lie. This police officer, after taking all the notes, says, I do not believe remonstrating is a criminal offence. Therefore, no offences are disclosed because I committed no offence. I did not break the law. Right? Fast forward. He tried to come to my house when I was out at work and everybody else was out. This police officer. Felt sorry for him, but he'd have been set straight if I'd have been there. No messing about, and I wouldn't have listened to a word he said. And he likely would have got a complaint against him if he tried anything. Yeah. And I wouldn't have wanted to have that happen. So, fast forward to the 21st of October, after I've asked Kerry Sullivan if I could have a witness statement, she says, yeah, I've sent her an email requesting that she give a witness statement against John Smith to say what happened. She said that on that day he became extremely angry with seconds. No, I didn't. So she's now lying. She's now lying. On that same day, right, now she makes that call at 1 minute to 8 in the morning. You got nothing better to do. At 7 minutes to 3 that same day, John Smith claims, he rings the police claiming that there's been a number of further issues with, and addresses me as Brewerton since the incident. Well, that's absolute rubbish. There's been no contact. No contact whatsoever. So we go through this document, all of us, we pull it to pieces. There's been no credible investigation at all. And to me, and I'll tell you exactly what was said in that parish council meeting. When Kerry Sullivan came out with the statement, as I described in the previous video, she snapped at me, "I'm sorry, have you anything to say?" And I said, "I'll have a word about that after." About what, sorry? My response, "It's not the public forum. I'll have a word after about that if you want." "Oh, that's fine, yes." And that's it. That's the official dialogue. Police have seen that video now. Yeah? It's quite clear from what was said to the police that it was a bullshit tirade and that the only intention there was to bring a malicious prosecution against an innocent victim and to do damage to an innocent victim and to cover up their own misconduct in public office. We pulled this apart and we decided that this was unacceptable. We contacted the then police commissioner, and in mid-December we were able to broker a meeting with the police commissioner, but we were told it was going to happen early in the new year. That was to take place on the 7th of January, as I remember it. I think the 6th or 7th of January, that way. Either way, what we knew was we were going to have to be ready for this because this was a great chance. And as I say, we pulled that report apart and there was glaring omissions. We also saw that John Smith was present with Kerry Sullivan when she spoke to the police, so we knew that he was going to have his bullying way leaning on it, and that's where the lying came from, that she would go along with it just to please Johnny Boy and what he wanted. Their claim it wasn't a council matter is concerning because they've openly identified themselves as councillors and of concern have gone to the police as councillors and told lies about an innocent party. Absolutely. We also found as well that the recording of how I reacted to the visit to the first PCSO was wrong. They said I was angry, I was angered. No, I wasn't. I was distressed and upset, not angry. It's a big difference. Yeah. What I'd like to know is why did it take 14 days between the first visit and the last visit to come and see me? What you know, why was that done? It's mind-blowing. The notes as recorded by both PCSOs were just hopelessly pathetic, and no contact was made with with any of the witnesses. You know, whether the councillor witnesses or witnesses per se, none. And to me, what it certainly feels like was I certainly feel that the behaviour of John Smith and Kerry Sullivan, whilst trying to prevent me continuing my investigations regarding the use or misuse of public funds at the time, exactly, because if it had come out with what I suspected it was coming out with, John Smith and Kerry Sullivan would have had to resign, or it would have been all hell let loose. I was told as well by Gareth Harding that John Smith was not going to apologise. Well, why am I not surprised? I'm just not surprised by that. The bloke's a blockhead, he's psychotic, and he believes his own lies, it's quite clear. So off we toddled to the meeting with the police commissioner, and we regaled him with everything that had happened. We showed him the faults of the investigation. Well, we got some up that this was forwarded to the chief constable and another investigation was to take place. In the meantime, they'd published the minutes of the meeting of the 2nd of November. That was in January. And John Smith had minuted the email, asked Ashley to minute the email that was sent by Kerry Sullivan to Clark and to him and Cynthia Sampson. I'm going to read that email out to you now as an ending to this, and I'm going to, well, let's see what conclusions you come to. I'd like to see comments on this one. Okay, now here we go. This is the email that Ashley, and I'm going to say this, the 10th of January, gave a copy to Ryan Tolver and to myself. And this is how it starts. You may have read Councillor Tolver's email sent Friday to myself by now. I have already answered his question to his face and on video with regards to asking the police to keep a member of the public away from HBC meetings. I have not asked them at any point to tell anyone that they must not attend. I'm somewhat flummoxed as to how else I can respond. With regards to the conversation I had with the police, the incident I have discussed with them is not, as far as I'm concerned, a HBC matter. It refers to an incident that happened after an HBC meeting. Therefore, it is a personal matter, which I have already explained. Despite asking Councillor Tolver to respect my privacy, he has chosen to email me, again in what I feel is a demanding way, almost suggesting that if I don't reply with what he wants to know, I will be breaking my code of conduct. Firstly, I pride myself always on being open and honest. I felt assured that confirming I had not asked the police to do what Councillor Tolver has accused Councillor Smith of and suggested that I may have done would be enough. Secondly, why does Councillor Tolver have the right to expect an answer from me regarding a matter that has nothing to do with HBC? If I had been burgled and made a statement to the police regarding who could have carried out the burglary, would that give him the right to ask me what I had said to the police? I think not. I see no difference between that and the recent conversation I had with the police. As you were there when I spoke with the police officer, you know this is not a council matter. Have you noticed the words missing there? I refuse to respond to Councillor Tolver's email. I have no idea what it has to do with him, other than the fact that clearly he has a personal association with the member of the public involved. He's made that blatantly obvious. Please can you or our chair or vice chair advise how I should deal with this situation. I'm far too busy actually getting on with council work to put up with this continued and unnecessary harassment. Please accept my apologies to you all for having to waste your time, your own time, sorry, to deal with this. Kind regards, Kerry. Now, I hope you will have seen there's differences there. I'm going to leave it at that point, because this made this little, what many people thought was little, into this. It was huge. And just so that you know, just when John Smith couldn't get any worse, his behaviour couldn't get any worse, it does. Find out what happens in the next part. Take care.